Welcome back, retro gamers, and while I've had the chance to review various retro-inspired indie games, this is the first chance for me to review one that was actually developed with the original hardware in mind. That's right, another new NES Homebrew game coming in 2020. The game will be available as a ROM file to use with your favourite emulator or flash card of choice, or you can buy the physical edition to use on your console. Given its inspiration, you'd be forgiven for thinking this was a Mega Man clone at first glance, but dig a little deeper and Trophy is a standout game in its own right. Is it overshadowed by similar games from the 8-bit era, or does it deserve a trophy all on its own? Let's find out. Originally with a goal of just over $6,000 US, Trophy absolutely smashed this number through its Kickstarter campaign and received just over 40,000. I think it's safe to say the retro scene is still very much alive and well today. As soon as I seen the trailer, I just knew I had to have this game. The team were kind enough to send me the ROM for a review. Oh hey look, there I am. But where did this game come from and why in 2020? Well, I reached out to the developers to give me some more insight into the game's beginnings. And for that story we need to travel back in time just over 20 years to the 12-year-old mind of the creator Derek Andrews. This is when his first drawings for Trophy came to light, a robot with a head that looks kinda like a trophy cup. All it took was this simple idea from his childhood and now the game is going to be releasing in a few short months. But this wasn't Derek's first game for the Nintendo system. He actually has a background in NES programming experience spanning the course of a decade. He built the game from the ground up and was able to complete his passion project in just about 3 years. He even created the music for the game as well, building it all in 6502 assembly language. Yes, I can hear you asking, but if Trophy wasn't his first game, what was? And I'm so glad you asked, because Trophy is actually the third game released by Gradual Games. When he first started creating the games, Andrew had 3 games in mind, first opting for the simplest of the 3 ideas, meaning Nomulus Storming the Castle was his first release. After that, instead of picking the next hardest game to make, he went with the most complex of the 3, making Legends of Arlia before circling back to Trophy.
Suffice it to say, I would not have chosen to do Trophy as a first project. MMC3 introduced quite a few technical challenges which would have been way too much to deal with when I was learning the system to begin with.
The graphics for this game come courtesy of Laurie Andrews, who did a great job in making each level feel unique. As soon as you load up the circus level, for example, you get the feeling of being at the big top, and the same goes when you go to the warehouse. Well, like you're in a warehouse. There's never any mistaking where you're at. Each level has its own unique enemies, similar to other games. Mega Man. So it'll come as no shock that this was one of the games that inspired Trophy along with some other Capcom classics. As you'd expect from an NES game, the controls are simple, A button jumps, B shoots, and you use the D-pad to move. But the controls feel precise, which is imperative when playing a platform game. Some of the jumps I found to be a pain though. This one for example, its low ceiling means I met my peril on more than one occasion. Some of the levels have unique characteristics. For example, when you travel to space, in space no one can hear you scream. Suddenly the mechanics change, meaning you'll jump higher and land slower, a true feeling of low gravity. Each of the 9 levels have their own unique boss battle as well, and wow are they tough. But I beat them all in one shot of course. Oh, I didn't know you were going to show that. Oh well, at least you can see how tough the bosses actually are. And because you need to replay the entire level over again when you lose all your lives, this can be a frustrating playthrough at times. But if you're skilled enough like me, you'll have plenty of lives left and spawn at your last checkpoint. Obviously I wasn't deterred by the difficulty level, I persevered and eventually got to the final boss. I'll not showcase it here, I'll let you see it for yourself when you get a chance to play.
I'm not sure what gave me the individual ideas for the boss fights. I think I just thought thematically for each level. So for Carnival I thought of a clown, Ocean I thought of a seahorse, a big seahorse. Just seemed like it would be cool. We just went with whatever idea first came to mind, and designed a large character for each, and then experimented with how it would move.
Trophy is a great experience overall, the platforming is tight, stages are all unique, music is great and the bosses, wow. However, there are a few pitfalls, quite literally, that let the game down. Some of the pits have a background that blends in with the platforms, so you're not always sure where you can stand, meaning it's easy to fall to your death in a couple of stages. However, after talking to the publisher about this, I was reassured that the issue would be fixed in the final build. Another thing to note is after killing an enemy, if you move off the screen and reload it again, the enemy will be back. Frustrating, especially if you're low on health. Something I'm used to, but I thought it was worth noting for those who aren't familiar with how games on the NES play. These flying objects that I first thought were books are the bane of my existence. I think they killed me more times than any other enemy in the game, and that's really saying something. The checkpoint system is great, meaning you'll not have to start the level over again if you die near the end, unless you run out of lives of course. There are a few secrets along the way, allowing you to grow your health meter, which comes in very clutch in some stages. There's also a power up that changes your character and weapon slightly. You don this shiny gold attire and your weapon produces a wider shot. After talking to the devs, I can say that they're also adding another power up to the final build in the form of Rainbow Trophy, who instead of being one solid colour will actually pulse through the colour palette, shooting projectiles at the same height as the character. Now that will come in very handy, especially in the boss fights. This is what you need to look out for in order to upgrade. Oh wait, maybe I should censor this. Another thing to note, especially in the train level, I noticed slow down a couple of times, but it only lasted for a second or two, but it's just something I thought you should be aware of. I'll leave a link in the description so you can follow along with the progress of the game yourself, in case it's something you're into. I know it sounds like I was a bit harsh on the game in some parts, but really that wasn't my intention. I wanted to make sure you had all the facts before jumping into this NES Homebrew. Sure, it has some issues, but a lot of them were being fixed before release. Personally, I can't recommend this game enough. If you're a fan of platformers from this era, then this is a must-buy in my opinion. With tight controls, varied levels, great bosses that push the console to its limits, it's a true love letter to the Mega Man and Capcom games of the time. If this was released around the same time, I have no doubt it would be highly praised and deservedly so. I couldn't decide whether to give this game a 7 or an 8, so I'll meet in the middle with a 7.5 out of 10. Another thing they're adding before release is cutscenes in the game, so be sure to look out for that. Is this a game you'd consider picking up for yourself? What other NES Homebrew games have you been playing that I should check out? Let me know in the comment section below, and as always, happy gaming.
I make games because of the sensation of satisfaction and joy I get from building them. Programming is pretty fun when you can choose not to do things. If you start saying yes to every new feature, whether it's from your boss or yourself, it quickly becomes not very fun at all.